Donny Osmond has always been the picture of grace under the spotlight, the eternal showman who grew up in front of millions, smiling, singing, and dancing his way through one of the most remarkable careers in entertainment history. From his teenage years as a member of the Osmonds to his solo stardom and Las Vegas residences, he has been an icon for more than 5 decades. But behind the bright lights and charming grin, there's a deeply human story. One that involves not only Donny's struggles with fame, anxiety, and identity, but also the quiet strength of the woman who stood by him through it all, his wife, Debbie Osmond. Their love story began long before Donny became a global sensation. In fact, Debbie Glenn, her maiden name, had known the Osmond family for years. Born in Billings, Montana, and raised in Utah, Debbie was a cheerleader and a bright, grounded young woman, the kind who preferred quiet moments to the chaos of celebrity. She first caught Donny's attention in the early 1970s, when he was one of the most famous young men in America. The Osmond brothers were dominating television and music charts, and teenage girls screamed his name wherever he went. But Donny, despite being adored by millions, was lonely. He once said, "I was surrounded by people all the time, but I didn't really feel seen." Then, he met Debbie. She wasn't starstruck by him. In fact, she was dating one of his older brother's friends when Donny first noticed her. What attracted him most was that she treated him like a normal guy, not a superstar. For Donny, that normalcy was intoxicating. She didn't care about the spotlight, he said years later. She cared about the person behind it. But their relationship wasn't easy. Donny was just a teenager, and his career was tightly controlled by his father, George Osmond, who managed the family's image with precision. When Donny told his father that he was serious about Debbie, George worried that a public relationship might alienate Donny's fanbase. After all, teenage idols were expected to appear single and available. The Osmond image was wholesome, clean-cut, and carefully crafted. Marriage didn't fit that narrative at the time. So, for nearly 3 years, Donny and Debbie dated in secret. They went to movies quietly, met at friends' houses, and often had to disguise their relationship to avoid press attention. Donny would later describe it as living 2 lives, one on stage, one in the real world. During those years, Debbie became his anchor. As fame surged and the pressures of public life intensified, she was his refuge, the one person who never asked for anything except honesty and time. By 1978, when Donny was 20, he decided he'd had enough of secrecy. Against his father's advice and the warnings of his management team, he married Debbie on May 8, 1978, at the Salt Lake Temple in Utah. The ceremony was simple, elegant, and filled with family. Fans, however, were heartbroken. Thousands of teenage admirers reportedly cried, and Donny's fan mail plummeted. "It was like I committed career suicide," he later admitted. Overnight, everything changed. The backlash was immediate. Concert ticket sales dropped. His once loyal teenage audience turned away. Donny, who had been on magazine covers and TV screens for nearly a decade, suddenly found himself out of sync with the public that once adored him. But Debbie, calm and steady, refused to let the rejection destroy him. "She believed in me when the world didn't," Donny said. "She was the reason I didn't give up." Through the 1980s, Donny's career faced ups and downs. He tried everything, new music styles, TV projects, and stage performances, but struggled to find his footing as an adult artist. The boyish image that made him a sensation now worked against him. "People didn't want to see me grow up," he once said. "They wanted me to stay 17 forever." Meanwhile, Debbie focused on family. Together, they began raising their 5 sons, Donald, Jeremy, Brandon, Christopher, and Joshua. She embraced her role as a full-time mother, rarely appearing in public, and preferred to keep their home life private. The Osmonds had always been a close-knit family, and Debbie made sure her children experienced stability, even when their father's career felt uncertain. Still, those years weren't easy on her. The pressures of raising 5 children while supporting a husband rebuilding his career were enormous. Donny later revealed that he often felt guilty about how much he relied on her. "Debbie carried more than I ever realized. When I was out performing or chasing the next opportunity, she was holding our world together." Then, something remarkable happened. In the late 80s, Donny made an unexpected comeback, thanks to the hit single Soldier of Love. The song, released anonymously at first so that radio DJs wouldn't dismiss it as an Osmond record, became a surprise success. When audiences learned it was Donny Osmond, the reaction was euphoric. Suddenly, he was relevant again. He had reinvented himself, not as a teen idol, but as a respected adult performer. That resurgence gave the couple financial and emotional stability. Yet, despite the fame returning, Donny and Debbie stayed grounded. They had moved to Utah, away from Hollywood, to raise their children in peace. They valued faith, family, and privacy above everything else. But the quiet life they built would soon face another challenge, one far more personal and painful than any career slump. In the 90s, Donny began battling severe anxiety and panic attacks, a secret he kept hidden for years. The pressure of maintaining his image, the fear of failure, and the exhaustion of performing took their toll. "It felt like I was trapped in my own body," he later said. "I would smile on stage and panic inside." Debbie became his lifeline once again. She encouraged him to seek therapy, to rest, and to remember that his worth wasn't tied to fame. Donny often said that his wife's calm wisdom saved his sanity. "She never judged me, never made me feel weak. She just kept reminding me who I was." Their marriage endured those dark years, but not without strain. In interviews, Donny admitted that fame sometimes made him emotionally distant. Debbie, meanwhile, found strength in her faith and her family. She joined community causes, supported her husband quietly, and maintained the same poise she had shown since the beginning. Then came Las Vegas, the chapter that would redefine their lives once again. In 2008, Donny teamed up with his sister, Marie Osmond, for a residency at the Flamingo Hotel. What was meant to be a 6-week run turned into an 11-year phenomenon. The Donny and Marie show became one of the longest-running acts in Vegas history. Crowds returned night after night, and critics praised Donny's charisma and energy. Behind the scenes, however, Debbie was dealing with the toll that performing took on her husband's health. The schedule was grueling. Donny performed 5 nights a week, often pushing through back pain and exhaustion. Debbie urged him to rest, but Donny's work ethic wouldn't let him slow down. "She was always the voice of reason," he said. "If it weren't for her, I would have run myself into the ground." Then, in 2019, tragedy nearly struck. Donny suffered a serious back injury during the final months of the Las Vegas run. He continued performing despite excruciating pain, but when the show ended, he collapsed and could barely walk. Doctors told him he might never regain full mobility. The news was devastating, not just for Donny, but for Debbie, who had watched her husband push himself to the edge for decades. For months, she helped him recover, nursing him through surgery and rehabilitation. Donny later shared that her care and patience were what got him back on his feet, literally. "She was my angel," he said. "When I couldn't walk, she carried my hope for me." While Donny gradually returned to the stage, Debbie's health became the quiet concern that few fans knew about. The woman who had spent her life supporting her husband through fame, failure, and recovery was beginning to struggle privately. Friends and family noticed she seemed frailer than before, though neither she nor Donny spoke publicly about it. He continued performing and promoting his solo albums, but fans who saw him in interviews noticed a different tone in his voice, one of worry and tenderness. Though the Osmonds never publicly disclosed the full extent of Debbie's health struggles, Donny hinted at them in various interviews and stage performances. In 2020, while promoting his album Start Again, he told reporters, "There were moments in the last few years when I had to ask myself what really matters. Fame fades, money comes and goes, but family, love, and faith are everything." Those words, spoken softly and with emotion, carried deeper meaning than most fans realized. Behind them was the reality of hospital visits, sleepless nights, and moments of fear that tested the couple's strength. Donny, known for his positive energy, rarely shows vulnerability in public. But those who know him closely say that seeing Debbie's health falter broke something inside him. Debbie had always been his anchor, the calm in every storm. She was the one who raised their children when Donny's schedule kept him away, the one who shielded him when fame turned toxic, and the one who, after his back injury in 2019, nursed him back to health when doctors doubted he'd walk properly again. But now, their roles had reversed. Donny became the caregiver, standing by her side through every test, treatment, and quiet night when the future felt uncertain. In a 2021 interview, Donny's voice wavered as he spoke about her. "You spend your whole life thinking you're the strong one, the provider, the protector. And then something happens to the person you love most, and you realize strength isn't about what you can do. It's about how much you can endure together." Those words captured the essence of their love, not glamorous, not public, but deeply human. During this time, Donny withdrew from much of the entertainment world. When his Las Vegas residency with Marie ended, he told fans he needed time to recenter. While part of that was physical recovery, much of it was about being home, really being present. Debbie's health and peace became his top priority. The man who had once lived on stage now spent quiet mornings cooking breakfast for his wife and long evenings sitting beside her, listening to music. Their love story, which began in secret teenage dates and endured decades of fame, was now being tested by something neither of them could control: time. But even in the face of health challenges, their bond only deepened. Donny began to talk more openly about gratitude, prayer, and the lessons of a long marriage. He once said during a show, "You never realize how precious someone is until you almost lose them. Debbie is my miracle." In 2022, when Donny resumed his solo performances in Las Vegas, fans noticed something different. He was still energetic, still the showman, but between songs, he spoke more softly about love and family. During one concert, he dedicated Puppy Love to Debbie and told the crowd, "This song was written when I was just a boy. But now, when I sing it, I think about her. The girl who became my everything." The audience stood in applause. Many moved to tears. Few knew the real weight behind those words. Throughout their marriage, Debbie avoided the spotlight. She rarely gave interviews and preferred to let Donny shine. But those who have seen them together describe a quiet affection, a shared glance, a gentle hand squeeze, that reveals decades of partnership. Donny has said that what makes their marriage work is simple: we never stopped being each other's best friend. Their 5 sons often share touching tributes to their parents on social media. Donny Osmond, one of their middle sons, once wrote, "My mom is the most selfless person I know. My dad is who he is because of her strength." Those words capture what many in the Osmond family believe, that Debbie's calm and humility are the foundation of everything Donny has accomplished. But the heartbreak comes not only from illness or aging, it comes from realizing how much they've endured in silence. Donny has admitted that fame nearly cost him his sanity at times, that the pressure to be perfect, both personally and publicly, nearly broke him. During those moments, it was Debbie's faith that pulled them through. She reminded him that perfection isn't love, that real love means showing up even when everything else falls apart. And she has shown up, through cancelled tours, bad reviews, health scares, and heartbreak. Donny often says that every success he's had since the 1970s is because of her. When he received the Icon Award at the 2021 Las Vegas Entertainment Awards, he said through tears, "This belongs to my wife, because she gave me my life back." As of 2025, Donny and Debbie continue to live in Utah, surrounded by their growing family, 12 grandchildren and counting. Donny still performs occasionally, but he spends most of his time at home, prioritizing health, faith, and family over fame. In interviews, he's made it clear that the most important stage in his life isn't one with lights or cameras, it's the one he shares with Debbie. Yet, he's also been candid about the emotional toll of watching her face health challenges. In one particularly moving comment during a fan Q&A, Donny said quietly, "You spend years thinking your career is your legacy. Then you realize, your legacy is the love you leave behind. I want my wife to know that everything I ever did, every song, every show, was for her." Those who follow their journey see something rare in their story, a lifelong love not built on fame, but on faith and endurance. It's easy to idolize celebrities for their success, but the true beauty of Donny and Debbie Osmond's marriage is that it has survived every test life could throw at it. Fame, loss, health battles, and age, none have broken them. But it's also what makes their story so heartbreaking. Because no matter how strong or faithful a couple is, time remains undefeated. Donny's recent reflections, often shared through music and interviews, suggest a man preparing for a new chapter, one defined not by career, but by gratitude. He has spoken of cherishing every sunrise, every laugh, every moment with Debbie, knowing that nothing lasts forever. For fans who grew up watching him as the bright-eyed teen idol, this reality is difficult to face, but also profoundly moving. The boy who sang about puppy love is now a man who understands the weight of real love, the kind that endures illness, fear, and loss. Their story is not about tragedy, but transformation. Debbie may have spent her life away from the spotlight, but her quiet strength shaped one of the most beloved entertainers of our time. Donny, who once feared that marriage would ruin his career, now says it saved his soul.